Hello rappers, this is Jacked On and welcome to my Spider-Man Homecoming spoiler review. So let's get into it. Now before I start this spoiler review, I just want to say, this is my opinion. My opinion only. So if you disagree with me, it is okay. I don't have any intention to offend anyone who likes this, but this is my opinion. If you disagree, it's okay. Don't get offended. It's just a movie. I'm just talking about a movie. So a fan requested for me to do the spoiler review. This is why I did this. So yeah, I mean, I also had a lot of stuff that I wanted to cover on Spider-Man Homecoming since my last Far From Home spoiler review. So yeah, let's get to it.
I mean,
they're friends.
yeah, like Coach Wilson and Captain America are friends. I've met him. Yeah.
Characters. As in for the characters, okay, they're not comic accurate, but that is still a very important detail within Spider-Man that I think the side characters need to be accurate. I mean, Spider-Man is my favorite comic book character, and it just annoys me to see the side characters not the same. To see the side characters just changed. And I know that they're changed because of the deal made by Sony and Marvel, and that Sony just wanted to give Spider-Man to the MCU temporarily, and they wanted to keep the side characters so that they could do their own universe, such as the Venomverse. So I mean, to Marvel and stuff, I mean, even though it's not Marvel's fault, I still don't care. I mean, to Marvel, I'm a customer, and I want a Spider-Man that is comic accurate with all the side characters also accurate, you know? I think, like, what I was amazed about in The Amazing Spider-Man is that I like the casting of Flash. I mean, Flash, I really liked. I think it was a perfect casting, and some of the very comic accurate stuff I love. And going back to what I was going to say, to Marvel, I'm a customer, and what I expect of Spider-Man is a comic accurate Spider-Man with all the side characters, just like I'm seeing in the comics. And if I can't get that, then I would rather Spider-Man just go back to Sony. I mean, if I'm not gonna get the comic accurate Spider-Man that I want, but Sony can give me that, then let it go back to Sony. I don't care about the MCU. Honestly, I think because he joined the MCU, there are also problems that are coming to Spider-Man. Because of him being in the MCU, he has more problems than that we didn't have when Sony made the Spider-Man movies. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Hey.
The bigger MCU. Now, if you haven't seen my comic book collection, I recommend you to go see it. It's going to show up in the end of my video. But if you haven't seen it, I had this book. It was like this amazing collection. It's called An Amazing Collection of the Amazing Spider-Man comics. And they were one of the earliest Spider-Man comics. I mean, they were so good. I had the first appearance of MJ. It had the first appearance of the Rhino, first appearance of the Shocker, second appearance of the Vulture, second appearance of the Kraven the Hunter, Spider-Man and Green Goblin unmasked. I mean, one of the best comics. But what I want to say is that in that comic, there was also this story where the Avengers gathered all together, and they started talking about how come Spider-Man is a superhero like them, but he's not in the Avengers. So they started discussing on, started making a vote. Should he be in the Avengers? Should he not? And they decided to test him and see if he's worthy enough to join. And so they make a test, and Spider-Man gets the test, doesn't really get it. He doesn't get it. But what I want to get on with that story is that it shows the values and why Spider-Man he doesn't end up becoming with the Avengers, and for a very very good reason that I'm not gonna spoil. I'm also gonna show the name of the comic book and the picture of the issue here if you want to read it. But the point of that story is that it shows why Spider-Man isn't meant to be with the Avengers. Why is he better solo? And that is something that is lacking with the Spider-Man in the MCU, especially in Spider-Man Homecoming. They keep shoving Iron Man into our faces because they want us to remember, oh, this Spider-Man is different. He's in the MCU. He's in the MCU. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. He's just a fanboy. He's just, I mean, I would wish that Spider-Man, when he sees, like, in that comic, when Spider-Man saw Captain America and Thor, you know how they have these bubbles, right? So that is a very good thing that Spider-Man Homecoming did, where they did this AI inside the suit. So what I wish would have happened when he met Iron Man and he met the Avengers, he would talk to the AI inside his suit and say, like, oh my god, this is like Captain America, but then he would be serious, just like what happened in that comic. He didn't act like a fanboy to Captain America, and that is, like, I feel like just a little bit disrespect Spider-Man. I feel like Spider-Man shouldn't be this kind of fanboy or some kind of no one to the Avengers. And that is something that I really, really hate. And they keep shoving Iron Man into our faces here in the in Homecoming. And let me say this: Iron Man is the Uncle Ben of the MCU. Let me tell you first why. First up, he looks up to Iron Man. In the Amazing Spider-Man comics, he looked up to Uncle Ben because Uncle Ben was this mentor of him. He was like a father figure that he never had. And he looked up to him because he was perfect in his eyes. And Uncle Ben is not that, clearly, in the MCU. Because from Spider-Man Far From Home, in my spoiler review, I said that, you know when you see this bag, which was also shown in the trailers, that has BFP, Benjamin Franklin Parker? So this bag blows up. And Aunt May asks Peter Parker, where is the bag? He says it blows up and they just shrug it off. Spider-Man clearly does not care about Uncle Ben, and that is really disrespectful to Uncle Ben. Plus, instead of Spider-Man looking up to Uncle Ben because he thinks that he died because of him, because Spider-Man thinks that he should respect his last request, which is that he should have great responsibility with his powers, and that is not evident in the MCU. He doesn't like Uncle Ben, clearly. He doesn't care about Uncle Ben. He doesn't look up to Uncle Ben. He doesn't even want to mention Uncle Ben. And all of that has gone to Iron Man. He looks up to Iron Man. He wants to be the new Iron Man. He wants to be just as popular as Iron Man. He wants to be an Avenger like Iron Man. He looks up to Iron Man rather than him looking up to Benjamin Franklin Parker. And that is disrespectful to Ben Parker. And that is something I really, really, really hate about the MCU Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming, because they really shove it into our faces. I mean, what was good about the origin of Spider-Man is that Spider-Man, because he feels like he disrespected Uncle Ben, he feels guilty and he doesn't want the same thing to happen to any other people. So he keeps fulfilling Uncle Ben's need. With great powers comes great responsibility. None of that is here. He fulfills Iron Man's need, which also goes to the idea that Iron Man is the Uncle Ben of the MCU. Many people are saying, no, he's not the Uncle Ben of the MCU. And especially in Far From Home. they're like, oh, yeah, you should be your own. You should not be the Uncle Ben of the MCU. And then they make this montage that clearly looks like a montage from Iron Man 1. So I mean, it's just, they say something else and then they do something else. Fans are saying he's not the Uncle Ben of the MCU, and they have no way to prove it. Yeah, right, in the movie they say that, yeah, he should be his own, he should not be the Iron Man Jr., but they're showing us something else. He is trying to be Iron Man Jr. He was being Iron Man Jr. in the end of Far From Home. And all he does in Far From Home is to fulfill the needs of Iron Man, is to pleasure Iron Man, is to show Iron Man that, to prove Iron Man wrong, that the Vulture is doing something wrong. And he just focuses on Iron Man because Iron Man is the Uncle Ben of the MCU. Just stop saying he isn't if you have no way to prove he isn't. My God, he is. And it just annoys me. That is going back to the bigger MCU, and especially, which can go back to my last argument, that is not comic accurate. Now, I'll say something that have been told and told and told and told again and again in every Spider-Man video that you could see in YouTube. Consequences. Which is, yeah, Spider-Man has no consequences to what he does. He leaves his prom girlfriend in the school, and he just leaves her to impress Iron Man. I mean, nothing happens to him in the end, especially in the end of the movie. I mean, like, Spider-Man was scared. He thought that Liz was gonna do something to him when she was leaving. Yeah, he just apologized, and she's like, yeah, okay, it's okay. I mean, it's just so bad. I mean, what I meant by is better than that Sony should get the property back. For example, I also talked about this in my The Amazing Spider-Man, the tragedy of The Amazing Spider-Man, which is going to show up also in the end of my video. I talked about how in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man gets hit over and over and over and over and over and over, and he gets back up. And that also was clearly shown in Spider-Verse, which is also another Spider-Man made by Sony. Yet, it is not evident in the MCU. And I'm not gonna go over every single thing that he's not gonna get consequences in, because I know many videos covered it. And I'm also going to put High Top's video, with I think also talks about clearly why Spider-Man Homecoming is not a very good Spider-Man movie, which I'm going to put in the link in the description. But, I mean, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, even The Amazing Spider-Man 2, although that movie is shit and I love it so much, it also shows how Spider-Man has consequences, how Spider-Man suffers because he's Spider-Man. And that is not evident at all in the MCU. And I hate it so much. He does bad stuff over and over and over and over and over, and he doesn't get anything. He doesn't have any consequences. And one of the most amazing stuff that Sam Raimi's Spider-Man covered, which is not covered here, nor was it mainly not covered in Far From Home. Well, when you think about a trip to Europe, a school trip, it's gonna be a bit expensive. I'm not talking about like buying a new house, but in the comics, Aunt May isn't supposed to be able to afford for Spider-Man to go in a trip. It would have been, I think, what the Amazing Spider-Man, the 616 Universe Spider-Man would have done is that he would have gone to the Daily Bugle and taken more photos and like summed up more money to go to the trip. Although there wasn't any Daily Bugle in Spider-Man Far From Home until the post-credit. So he doesn't get any consequences, and showing that Aunt May clearly just paid for his trip just annoys me so much. It's so not comic book accurate. She shouldn't be able to afford. I mean, in Homecoming, what I liked about Spider-Man Homecoming, is that it didn't clearly show it, but it tried to show how Spider-Man is a below middle class person. They were eating in like some weird restaurant with Aunt May. His home is not this like fancy house. Yeah, Sam Raimi Spider-Man showed that better. I mean, I think like the director, the director tries to show a lot of stuff. He tries to show that Spider-Man is not the Iron Man Jr., yet he fails. He tries to show that Spider-Man is poor, yet he fails. He tries to show that Uncle Ben is in the MCU, yet he disrespects Uncle Ben. And I hate it. I hate it so much. But yeah, this is all the bad stuff I have to talk about Spider-Man in the MCU and Spider-Man Homecoming. Yet I love this movie more than Far From Home. So I have some good stuff that I want to talk about. But yeah, before I go to the good stuff, I talked about how it's bad because they tried to shove the MCU into our faces. I would have liked if Spider-Man remained in the MCU and he could show up in Infinity War, he could show up in Civil War, he could show up in Endgame. But when it's a Spider-Man movie, I want a Spider-Man movie. I don't want Spider-Man and the MCU. I mean, I would rather have, to fix all of this, Uncle Ben be mentioned and respected. Side characters being comic accurate. When it's a Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man goes solo. He doesn't need to mention any of the Avengers. He doesn't need to mention any of what happened in the MCU, unless he could easily mention that he died in Infinity War. That would have been a good thing for him to only mention, yet he forgets about it. It's just so stupid. So yeah, the bigger MCU, they keep shoving it into our faces. I'd rather have him show up in Avengers movies, but leave him alone in Spider-Man movies. Leave him alone. I would rather have the side characters be comic accurate. I would rather Spider-Man get hit, get beaten into the ground. I would rather Spider-Man get depressed, get hit over and over and over and over. Just like Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is amazing, just let me tell you. I also cried when reading Spider-Man No More, which was in my Amazing Collection comic book. Spider-Man gets hit over and over and over and over and over and over. He gets depressed. He gets the worst day of his life. And you get this amazing scene, which I'm going to show you now.
All the things you've been thinking about, Peter, make me sad.
Can't you understand? I'm in love with Mary Jane.
Peter, all the times we've talked of honesty, fairness, justice, all of those times I counted on you to have the courage to take those dreams out into the world.
I can't live your dreams anymore. I want a life of my own.
You've been given a gift, Peter. With great power comes great responsibility. Take my hand, son.
No, Uncle Ben. I'm just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man. No more. No more. No more.
it clearly shows the importance of Uncle Ben, and it's the best scene in any Spider-Man movie. One of. I haven't really decided which one is the best, but my God, does this scene is perfect, and we need a scene like this in the MCU. Yet we're never gonna get it because they're all like, "Hey, jolly jolly, oh Spider-Man, he's just a high school kid that gets whatever girl he wants." Which get what? Oh, I mean, yeah, he got Liz, he got MJ, and it's just, my God, it's just so bad. I mean, but they don't show us why he likes MJ. They don't show us why he likes Liz. Which Spider-Man 2 and all the other Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, clearly showed that MJ was the girl he liked when he was young. Which Aunt May also said when he was young, he said this.
Wake up. Go home, dear. You look awful.
And you look beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I don't like to leave you here.
Oh, but I'm safe here.
Can I do anything for you?
You do too much. College, a job, all this time with me. You're not Superman, you know. A smile, finally. Haven't seen one of those on your face since Mary Jane was here.
Hey, you were supposed to be asleep.
You know, you were about 6 years old when MJ's family moved in next door. And when she got out of the car and you saw her for the first time, you grabbed me and said, "Aunt May? Aunt May? Is that an angel?"
Gee, did I say that?
You sure did.
Oh, Harry's in love with her. She's still his girl.
Well, isn't that up to her?
She doesn't really know who I am.
Because you won't let her. You're so mysterious all the time. Tell me, would it be so dangerous to let Mary Jane know how much you care? Everybody else knows.
And it's like, it's the girl next door that he first liked before he liked any girl. That is what he said in the beginning of Spider-Man 2. See, that is in the beginning of Spider-Man 2. He said MJ is the girl before he liked any girl. See, they're telling you why he likes MJ in the beginning of the movie, which is not evident in the MCU Spider-Man, which I really hate. They're telling you why he likes MJ. They don't tell you any of that in Spider-Man Homecoming. They don't tell you why he likes Liz. But yeah, those are all the bad stuff I have to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. Now let's go to the good stuff.
Hey! You're that Spider guy on YouTube, right?
Call me Spider-Man!
Okay, Spider-Man! Don't flip! Yeah!
New York. This is probably the best part of Spider-Man Homecoming, which is they nailed New York, but not like Spider-Man 2. Not like Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 also nailed New York perfectly with one of the scenes, and that is not evident here. But it was a good part of the movie. I liked that part. I liked how also it kind of felt like New York is alive. And that is a very, very important... Look, I haven't read the Ultimate Spider-Man yet. I've ordered the first Amazing Collection, which has the first 13 issues, which I heard are amazing. I ordered it. It hasn't reached yet. So, but so far, I so love the 616 Amazing Spider-Man old comics. So, I mean, New York is a very, 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 very important character in Spider-Man. And the Sam Raimi trilogy, because Sam Raimi loved the old 616, the Amazing Spider-Man comics, and he tried to nail them, they were clearly shown there. But in Homecoming, I felt like they tried, and it was a very, very good try. It was at least something that we didn't really see as good in the Amazing Spider-Man. It was also evident in the Amazing Spider-Man, but I felt like this clearly showed a new part of New York that was never seen in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, which is the I think maybe he tried to show the like fun side, maybe the I don't know what was really special about New York in this movie, but I felt it was like something that I needed to talk about because I felt like it was a very, very important character in this movie, and that I really, really hate that they took off from Spider-Man Far From Home. So that's why I hate Spider-Man Far From Home than Homecoming. I like Spider-Man Homecoming more. So yeah, I mean, I felt like New York didn't really do much, but it was something that needed to be talking about because it was taken for granted and they took it off the Far From Home movie. So, yeah, New York was a good part that was nailed in this movie.
You have reached the voicemail box of
Happy Hogan.
Hey, Happy. Here's my report for tonight. I stopped a Grand Theft bicycle, couldn't find the owner, so I just left a note. I hope this lost old Dominican lady. She was really nice and bought me a churro. I'm just, feel like I could be doing more. You know, I'm just curious when the next real mission's gonna be. So yeah, just call me back. It's Peter Parker.
Grounded. Now this movie feels, although I've talked about how well, look, I love the first act of Spider-Man Far From Home. It feels grounded, just like I said before. That intro, grounded. What I mean by that, the first act is amazing. It shows clearly shows your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and I love it so much. But especially that Spider-Man is trying to prove himself to Iron Man, which I hate, but he's proving himself by doing your ordinary friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which is so not evident in Far From Home, which I hate. I hate so much. I hate the idea that they've taken him out of New York and put him in Europe. But yeah, I mean, I love the first act. It feels grounded, straight. It feels like one of those issues of Spider-Man in the Amazing Collection, which I talked about. It feels like one of those issues where like nothing really big happens. It's not like a Spider-Man No More comic. It shows another day in Spider-Man where there's nothing really big happening. Everyone is in jail and Spider-Man is just going with his day, fighting criminals here and there. So the first act is really good and it feels grounded. Yet I hate how they're going with it with Spider-Man Far From Home, but yeah.
Does she know?
Know what?
So she does it. Good. Close to the vest. I admire that. I've got a few secrets of my own. Of all the reasons I didn't want my daughter to date. Peter, nothing is more important than family. You saved my daughter's life, and I could never forget something like that, so I'm going to give you one chance. Are you ready? You walk through those doors, you forget any of this happened, and don't you ever interfere with my business again. Because if you do, I'll kill you and everybody you love.
The Vulture. Now the most important thing that I love about Homecoming is, I want to touch on it because the villain Vulture, he also technically without him we've never gotten the scene where Spider-Man is like There is also in the Amazing 616 universe where Gwen Stacy gets taken by Dr. Otto Octavius into some underground submarine. And we get one of the best scenes, which is well illustrated by a YouTuber that I'm going to put his video in the link in the description. It is one of the best issues in the Spider-Man comics ever. So I'm going to put his video in the link in the description, but I think that the scene that we got with Tom Holland and his acting was top notch. I liked that scene so much. It was really good. But yeah, I mean, I like that scene. And speaking of Vulture, I felt like Vulture is he's one of my favorite villains. He is, trust me, he is so campy. He feels like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man villain. I love it so much. I love it. Oh my god, I love this part where the Vulture is talking with his with Spider-Man, and he's like, "You be good with my daughter, but not too good." It was so funny, but I mean, I loved it so much. I love the Vulture. The Vulture is top notch. His needs, his purpose of being such a villain is well illustrated in Homecoming. His character arc, he has depth into him. He is a really good villain, and so far I think that although I love so much Jake Gyllenhaal, and I love Mysterio because I so loved Mysterio, and I love that we finally got to see him, but I think that Vulture is way better than Mysterio, because we clearly got good needs. We clearly got good purpose of what he's doing. For example, Mysterio, he wanted to become a new Avenger. He wanted to become a new hero. But if you think good about it, he's doing fake stuff. He's doing fake issues. He's using projectors, and he's acting as if he's this superhero. Well, what if he joins the Avengers, huh? What is he gonna do? Get another projector? Get a bigger projector? What if a real problem happens and he's in the Avengers and doesn't he really have powers? He doesn't. What is he gonna do? Did no one think of that? So Vulture clearly has straight needs, a straight path, very clear. I loved him so much in this movie. Mike, I mean, the actor was amazing. He played the character so good. I mean, I need to see Vulture again. He was so good. His needs were his intentions were so clarified in this movie. And what I like about it, now you might not know this, but I'm a big fan of Far Cry 3, and Voss is amazing, especially the actor that plays him. So yeah, the actor that plays Voss also shows up as the Scorpion talking to Vulture in the post-credits, so I can't wait for that. Oh my god, you really have to see Voss in Far Cry 3. I mean, his acting is top notch. I also heard that Voss wasn't supposed to be in the cover of Far Cry 3, but because the actor did an amazing job, he was then put into the main cover of the game. Like, imagine. So I'm so excited to see what they're gonna do with the Vulture, with his amazing character. An amazing character, especially that car scene. It is really good. Him being with Voss, the actor who played Voss, them two are gonna be amazing in the Sinister Six movie, which is clearly planned because now we have the Scorpion, Vulture, Mysterio, and Oscorp. Looks like it's opening up in the end of Spider-Man. Far From Home. Who knows? Maybe a Fantastic Four, Baxter Building, whatever. But I can't wait to see Boss with a Vulture. Vulture is amazing in this movie. So yeah, let's get to the last part. Now, in my spoiler review of Spider-Man Far From Home, I said that I rewatched the movie and I gave it at first an 8, but then I gave it a new score. I toned it down into minus 0.5, so it became a 7.5 out of 10. That is how much I hate it, Far From Home, even after my rewatch. But I love Homecoming way more than Far From Home, and I will give Far From Home, and I will give Homecoming an 8.5 out of 10. I love Homecoming way more than Far From Home, yet it is nowhere near my favorite Spider-Man. So yeah, if you want to know what is my favorite Spider-Man, then I'm pretty sure you're gonna be excited to my ranking of all the Spider-Man movies, from the worst to the best, in my opinion. Don't get offended if I say something that you don't like in that video. But I'm gonna talk about my opinion, ranking all my favorite Spider-Man movies from the worst to the best. All the Spider-Man movies. So yeah. That video is coming up next, so I wish you're excited for that. And yeah, have a nice rest of the day.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me.
Sorry.
Thanks.
It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. The raindrops keep falling.
And when the borderline is tau equals 0, the eigenvalues are someone, please.
0.23 electron volts.
Excellent work today, Parker. Keep it up.
Nothing's worrying me.